Hello, everyone. It's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Guys, this is a quick heads up, more so of a news report type thing. There's been a suspect that's been arrested in the mail bomb issue that's been taking place. Apparently, the guy is a previous criminal with a record in Florida, and cops have apprehended him. I'm going to read the story. This is in the Washington Post. Man in Florida arrested in connection with mail bombs sent to public figures. A Florida man with a lengthy criminal record is arrested on Friday in connection with suspect mail bombs sent to high-profile authority figures. The arrest came just hours after authorities responded to two more devices on Friday, one in Florida, another in New York, pushing the total number of packages found to law enforcement to 12. The devices all were sent to public figures. We all know that part. The man has been identified as Cesar Sayoc, 56 years old, according to a law enforcement official. Florida records show that Sayoc has a lengthy criminal record in the state, including arrests for bomb threats. Is it the guy? Who knows? Maybe. But at the very least, they have arrested him. I suppose if the bombs stop being mailed to people, then that would give this kind of, I guess, potential that this guy was the person. His criminal record in Florida extended back over the decade, beginning with an arrest for larceny when he was 29, according to state records. Other charges of larceny, grand theft, and fraud will soon follow across the southern part of the state. In 2002, the Miami police arrested Sayoc for a bomb threat, a felony Sayoc pleaded guilty to without trial and was sentenced to probation, the records show. He declared public. Okay, that's we don't need to go after him in this case. Long story short, Washington Post has the New York Times, or I'm sorry, the Washington Post has Florida man as the suspect, Cesar Sayoc, 56, arrested. If the bombs stop being delivered, then it is definitely evidence that the individual who they captured may be the person who actually did it. I did a report earlier showing that they were narrowing down where they believe the person was coming from and where they believe the bombs were being sent from. So, we'll see. What you're probably going to see after this is the Democratic Party saying that Trump is responsible. To some degree, Trump is responsible. The rhetoric that's been coming out of his mouth in this regard didn't, it wasn't necessarily going to go away in ether. Out of 300 million people, there were going to be people who weren't necessarily mentally tight that would hear that and would go out and do something about it, feeling inspired by the president who's in office telling them that these bad things are taking place. We'll see, man. It's an arrest. It's a suspect. A suspect doesn't necessarily mean he's guilty, but having arrests for previous bomb threats doesn't necessarily help his case. If the bombing stopped, then that is somewhat evidence that they got the right guy. That said, I'm going to put the article at the bottom after I finish this. By the way, we couldn't mail anything without having a stamp on it, meaning we had to put a return address on everything that we mailed. And I'm talking about from standpoint of mailing things from outside of the country. This guy was able to mail bombs and all this other stuff. Discrepancies, yes, doesn't necessarily mean that the discrepancies kill the fact that this guy might be guilty. We will see. You know what's funny? Chuck goddamn Todd is out there screaming about the Russians potentially being the culprit in this. Utter nonsense. Utter nonsense. Mr. Oblivious Chuck Todd. All right, I'm going to end this. We're at a restaurant. People are looking at me like I have lost my mind. But even when we're eating food, when the news calls, news calls. I'll see you guys later. Thanks all. Oh, by the way, if you enjoy the content, please feel free to like, share, subscribe. You can always support the content through PayPal or Patreon. Thanks all. Have a good one.